Park ranger that was the focus of the film spoke so well to explain the socialist system breaking down in the 90s, of course, and how it drove poaching out of control. He also explained how climate change is affecting their area and how forest fires displace animals to encroach onto villages, threatening their livestock and their lives, also with the nomadic people. Some new information for me was that the bears in this valley can live on the vegetation alone, not even eating fish. That's really something. And that 3 years is what it took to get the river clean after they cleaned up the mining operation. We hear from several of the townspeople and people out living off the land and the nomadic nature, and how the restrictions from the area that they're not to use affects their livelihood. So I can definitely put myself in their place for that. But what a hero this park ranger is to preserve the area in the way that he does and totally devotes himself to it.
It was interesting to see this Valley of Bears, what a flashpoint it is, and speaking of the change of their culture and economy, and then conflict between like the rangers and the locals, the reindeer people and the poachers and all the different groups and all their invested interests in this area. And then you have the bears, but the cinematography was just stunning. It was gorgeous. It was nicely directed, nicely edited. The interviews were terrific. Everybody did a great job explaining everything. The interviews were nicely conducted. And just the scenery was just gorgeous. I just loved these drone shots, these high up shots of seeing these bears roam free across this wide open area.
It's really interesting, the footage of the landscape, the mountains, the wildlife, even the people, it's all really breathtaking. It feels like you're traveling by screen and to this really remote area where you can only reach by deer at some points, and I think that's really cool. It definitely captures an appreciation for the natural resources that the rangers are trying to protect. The characters of the piece are also really interesting. I think the camera did a really great job of capturing the conflict between the everyday people trying to make a living and the ranger trying to protect the natural resources, and having everyone come together and be inspired to work together for conservation. It's a really inspiring, absolutely amazing documentary.
I just was so impressed with this ranger's work and how much sacrifice these people put into healing this forest and healing the earth. And it's just so many wise things that he had to say. I just jotted things down throughout, and it's kind of pieced, in pieces on my paper. But one of the things that I love that he said was we need to change our mentality, or they need to change their mentality. That there was a real discussion at some point between the generations that he had brought this to the children. And I thought that this guy is just so smart and really did so many amazing things that nobody really told him to do. He kind of seemed to do this all on his own. I like how he said the forests have to heal to absorb the poison in the sky. So sad, but true. I love that he was smart and used the poachers as rangers, and that he was able to turn around these guys' mentality to some degree to where they were using their expertise now for the better, and not to destroy, but to rebuild. In the beginning, I love the opening quotes because it was a great explanation of what we were about to watch, and I love being set up for that. So I know why I'm watching this and why I should be involved and interested and invested in this. The cinematography, the production value, all the different shots with the cameras were so great. The landscape here is beautiful. Really makes me care about the landscape as well as a character, not just these people and the animals.
Very deep dive into this conservation ranger Tumursuk in the Red Taiga. They talk about climate change, forest fires, how they go and help animals in the wild to stay away from humans because they will get killed. Some of the strategies are salting the caves, which I didn't know anything about, so it was very informative. This person, Timursu, was constantly going against the public opinion on what they should do with wild animals. He is always trying to change the perspective of why bears and other wild animals are getting closer to human settlements, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, even though they might be very dangerous. It's just because humans and other things are just ending with their ecosystems, and they are just looking to survive too. I really liked how we get into this bear rescuing missions and then this final release into the wild. The music for that scene is so uplifting, and then we go and find out that they are doing well after some time, and they go and monitor them, and he breaks his ankle, and it's just a lot of drama, and it's very engaging. They have amazing shots of this forest in Mongolia.